Hello and welcome to episode number 93 of The Pitcher or the Hitter, the podcast by the M-SABR Dynasty League for the M-SABR Dynasty League. I am Cam.
I'm Erik.
Yeah, hello, Erik. Sahil is moving in this weekend, so he won't be able to make it on this episode. But Erik, thank you for taking time from your own move in to co-host this week. How are you doing?
Yeah, great. It's crazy to finally have a bye. It's the first time I've ever had one, so excited.
Wait, really? I don't think I knew that. You've never had a bye?
I'm pretty sure I've never had one yet.
Yeah, God, I guess, year one, you were the 1 seed, but there wasn't a bye back then, right?
Right.
How about that? Yeah, congrats on getting a week off. Must be nice to rest your guys. Can't say that about me or Sahil. We'll get into all of that, but it was a weird week, and I don't even know what to say anymore. I did everything I needed to do this week, and I dropped a place in the standings, coming off of a win against the number one team. That's just, if anyone was not believing what I've been saying about my luck, that is over now, because this is just insane.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, but the playoff matchups are set. We have, of course, I am playing Yuki in a rematch of just 2 weeks ago when Yuki beat me. And Sahil is playing Conor, a rematch of last year's semis. So two exciting rematches. Gonna be a great time. And we actually have some questions about the playoffs. Sahil was kind enough to provide me with some of those, some discussion points. Erik has not seen them, but I'm going to take on the Sahil role and read these questions to Erik. Going to be a lot of fun here. So let's get going. First and foremost, which team between you and Jake is more likely to lose in the semis? Which of the two bye teams do you think is more likely?
I mean, I gotta say Jake, because I'm really good at roster management, especially playoff wise. I know it's probably an arrogant thing to say, but that's my reasoning.
Yeah, no, I think that was a softball question to start out. I think, you're definitely the better playoff roster management team. You always seem to kind of peak this time of year. In general, your roster management, you've been doing less of the cycling through players. You've kind of had a more solid core, and it's worked out for you this year.
Also,
Jake,
just thought of another point for that, because whoever Jake's gonna play, Conor or Sahil, both of those teams have made it to the finals, and neither Yuki nor yourself has made it to the finals.
that's true. Yeah, very true. But as a counterpoint, me and Yuki just both beat you in 2 of the last 3 weeks. So there is that.
It's also true.
Also true. It's just gonna be a brutal path to the finals. But yeah, Jake. Jake was, as of 10 o'clock Sunday night, the 4 seed, and now all of a sudden he's the 2 seed. So kind of whiplash. I don't believe he's ever been in the playoffs. Yeah, so I agree he's more likely to, as Sahil said, pull a 2021 Sahil / Cam. All right, next question. Do you think I will make it past the semis this year? I guess this is kind of the same as the previous question, but do you think I have a team that, say, hypothetically, we can ignore the matchup against you to make it different than the previous question? Do you think I have a team that could make it past the semis?
I mean, you can't have one guy that could carry you to the semis, potentially an Aaron Judge. So
that is true. God, Aaron Judge has been carrying me hard this year. I don't know. I think I like my team. I think my luck got to turn itself around. I'm worried about all of my pitchers being hurt at the same time, which you kind of need in the playoffs. Yeah, next question. What will be the most categories won by a team in any playoff matchup?
ooh, that's a tough one. Judging by just how close these 6 teams have been, and we shouldn't expect any blowouts. I'm gonna say 8. Because even though maybe kind of all the categories could be close, maybe one team is just slightly ahead in 8 categories. Like that was kind of what happened with you and I's semifinal matchup last year. All the categories were pretty close, but I just had a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how it ends up being. Not a lot of blowouts in the playoffs, and if there's one, it'll be like our semis matchup from last year. So I was gonna say 8 as well. Next question: will there be a tie broken by the seeding tiebreaker this year?
Oh man, seems like this would be the year to do it, if any. But I'm gonna say no. Just giving the chances.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say yes. I think this is the year. I'm looking back through previous playoffs just to see if this has ever happened. Do you know off the top of your head if it has?
I'm pretty sure it has, but I don't know 100%.
Yeah, a lot of 6-5-1 playoff matchups. It hasn't happened in the podcast era. I know it's happened in hockey.
Oh yeah, who is that? Who is that matchup?
I think didn't you lose to Andrew in the finals on a 6-6?
Oh right, we did.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's got to be frustrating. No, there have not been any ties that were broken by the seeding tiebreaker. Maybe this is the year. I could see me versus Yuki this week being that, which would be kind of crazy and very fitting. Just kind of with the way our matchups have gone and everything. Final question though, that Sahil provided: predict the finals matchup and the score.
I'm gonna go me versus Sahil 7-5.
7-5 who?
Me.
All right. 7-5 Erik over Sahil in the finals. I think Sahil is going to beat me in the finals 6-5-1. That's my prediction. I think Sahil is just really far ahead in the roto of everyone. And I don't know. I'm confident in my team making it to the finals. I gotta pick myself to win the semis and not lose for the third year in a row. But I'm not quite that confident in my health
Yeah.
and in the way my roster is right now.
Sahil keeps wanting that to be a thing, but maybe it will if it happens this year.
Yeah, maybe it will. I guess it depends on how the semis curse goes or how the semis goes. I will point out that I've never lost in the playoffs to a team that didn't end up winning the finals. So maybe it's just that I'm running into good teams all the time. But yeah, we'll see. My only playoff win ever was against Yuki, so that bodes well for me this week. Although I don't want to speak too soon on that. But yeah, so those are all the questions Sahil provided. Are you ready to dive into the matchups?
Yep, let's do it.
Yeah, God, what a stupid week. Matchups flipping left and right at the end. But let's dive into the one that ended up making all the difference. That was, of course, Sahil v. Ruthvik, a tie 5-5-2. Ruthvik led 11-1 on Saturday. And just, I don't know if he choked or what, but Sahil flipped. Well, he took 6 categories away from Ruthvik. It was a 5-5-2 tie. And yeah, that alone ended up, just to look at the standings, you will see that me, Sahil, and Jake all finished in a 3-way tie with a .675 winning percentage. But the tiebreaker went to Jake, with him going 3-1 against the two of us, Sahil going 2-2, and me going 1-3 against the opponents. This would not have ended up mattering had Ruthvik held on to his lead, because had he done that, I would have been 2, Jake would have been 3, Sahil 4. But Ruthvik did not hold his lead. Sahil got exactly what he needed, as he always seems to do. What is this, like the 4th time this year he's needed something stupid in the Sunday night game and gotten it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, he has the nerve to tell me that he was unlucky this week. But yeah, it's a 5-5-2. Sahil played kind of mediocre. I would say the runs numbers were solid, and he hit 20 doubles, stole 6 bases. But other than that, nothing's jumping off the page. Same goes for Ruthvik with his 43 RBI. Although he did save 5 games with 6 holds. What do you think about this matchup, Erik, and the way it all went down?
Yeah, I mean, is this got to be like the biggest swing in like a day? Is it not from 11-1 to 5-5, right?
I mean, definitely the biggest one in a important matchup where people were paying attention.
But yeah, I mean, Sal has been frustrated with his team all year. He expects it to be at the top, but it's kind of mediocre. It's kind of like Michigan a lot of years, but Michigan football.
Yeah, no, I get it. He's disappointed when he's not number one. Yeah, he definitely struggled this year, he thinks, but he still got the 3 seed. That's still very, very, very good. Not very many teams have been as high as the 3 seed ever. And he gets sure he has to play in the first round for the first time since year 1, but he's really got nothing to complain about. And even in a relatively down year, he's number 1 in Roto. I don't really have a comparison for that. I will say his matchup MVP though has got to be Jose Altuve, who hit 2 homers, 4 doubles, scored 7, drove in 6, and had a pair of stolen bases. And those home runs were immensely important because they tied 10-10 in that. The 4 doubles, he only won by 1. He also only won by 5 runs. So yeah, no, Jose Altuve really flipped this matchup for Sahil. But yeah, any other comments on this matchup, or do we want to talk about the next one?
No, we're good.
All right. I think while the two of us are here, let's talk about ours. That was definitely the next most interesting one. A lot of storylines around this one. We both played out of our minds this week. I believe we both would have beaten Sahil and Ruthvik. Is that correct? I haven't double checked.
I'll look at Ruthvik right now.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. While you're doing that, I won 5 of 6 hitting categories. I was down by 4 home runs on the final day, and I managed to hit 5 home runs, including 2 from TJ Friedel, who went 4 for 8 in a doubleheader with a pair of homers. Well, you hit no homers on the last day, and I guess I was on the other end of a crazy hitting performance on the final day, I guess. And I really wish this matchup would have mattered, and I really wish this would have put me in the 2 seed, because it's hard to beat you, and I'm really proud of my team for doing it. You know, you played great. You had 54 runs. You're kind of getting to the point of the season where you're just scoring runs at will. You had a great whip. Whip was very close on the final day, and then it went way in your direction. And you may have noticed what I started to do in the middle of the week. You had 5 starters going on Saturday. So I decided, hey, I'm going to do the Yuki strategy. I'm going to try and get as many holds as possible and try and do that. Try not to blow whip and ERA. And definitely that strategy worked in the fact that I would have blown ERA because basically all of my pitchers I would have started got blown up. But I somehow managed to only get 1 hold all week, despite starting 6 relievers on Saturday and 7 on Sunday. I got 1 late Sunday hold from Michael Fulmer. But in the end, it was the homers and it was TJ Friedel that got me the win. I haven't even mentioned yet, I had a 4.124 on base percent, which was the 4th best of all time. Stole 6 bases, which I never seemed to do. 2 of those were from Vlad, by the way. But yeah, no, great all around week for me. I don't know where I'd be without Framber Valdez. But my matchup MVP has got to go to Aaron Judge again. How could it not? 4 more homers, 6 more runs, 6 more ribbies. All 3 categories were very tight. He had a 560 on base percentage. So yeah, overall, really thrilled with my team this week. Wish Sahil's matchup didn't go the way it did. But yeah, why don't you talk about your team and your perspective, since this matchup didn't really make a difference for you?
Yeah, it's weird playing a matchup that literally meant nothing to me in terms of positioning, but you're my biggest rival, so I still wanted to do everything I can to beat you. And I saw that going into the week, I think you were only scheduled for like 7 or 8 starters. Meanwhile, I had 12, so I kind of had a feeling you weren't going to start everyone. That if you got a good ERA and whip lead, that you might just play the matchups instead. And I think I'm gonna bench a couple guys later in the week once I built up a K and quality start lead
I think so.
to try to balance that. But I don't remember if either whip ERA or whip was decided at that point. Whip might have been, but yeah. Anyway, so and the crazy thing is I only had like 3 holds guys at the beginning, and I somehow got up to a big holds lead despite you having a lot, and so I didn't really have to pay too much attention to that category throughout the week. So I just used a lot of ads on hitters, picking up guys who were hot, and didn't end up working out in the end because they only won one hitting category. But I know homers and RBIs were close to the very end. So yes, good hard fought week by both of us. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you did get good hitting weeks from ads like Nick Gordon. You got a 3 for 4 from Bubba Thompson. You had a home run from Michael Taylor on Sunday when you put him in the lineup and not Stanton, and Stanton went 0 for 5. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, my team's namesake. I mean, let me start over. Yeah, I'm not afraid to bench guys if they're doing shitty, even when they're my team's namesake.
That's true. Yeah. He is the Stanton Strangler after all. But yeah, no, last thing I want to say about this week is, yeah, I only used 3 starts just because, I benched a lot of guys, but also I have 5 starting pitchers on the IL. Walker Buehler, Tyler Mahle, Shane McClanahan, Zach Wheeler, and Alex Wood. I yeah, I streamed Jose Suarez for the first week, or for the first day of this week. We're doing this live 10:30, 2 p.m. Monday night. It's the 3rd inning, and he's pitching well so far. But yeah, including him, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 healthy starters. So it's going to be an uphill battle for me in that respect. I wish I could have had a week off for that, but enough for me lamenting about the hell I'm in. Let's talk about the next matchup that ended up being important. That was Jake barely holding on to a win against Anthony. He won just 7-5, despite using all 12 starts. Didn't kind of the Jake week from earlier in the year where he got a whole bunch of strikeouts, but with bad pitching rate stats. Not a particularly impressive week for him on the whole. Kind of solid in a lot of categories. The RBIs were great. But other than that, he only scored 38 runs and homered 11 times. But just enough to hold off Anthony by 1 run and 5 RBIs and 1 quality start. Jake had used 12 starters and got 4 quality starts. Anthony used 5 starters and got 3 quality starts. So he nearly nipped him there. But Jake, with this win, that got him the bye, got him the 2 seed. Very exciting. But yeah, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, he has a really good team, but I'm just looking at his schedule right now from the year. He's never had a win streak above 2 games, but he is currently on a 2-game win streak, so that's good momentum going right there. And yeah, this is exactly what he needed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, I guess if that doesn't hold, then maybe if that streak holds, then maybe he won't get on that 3-game win streak. But yeah, I think it was a solid week all around. Matchup MVP, I'm going to give to Michael Harris II, who had a 478 on base, had a big steal, drove in 5 runs, hit a pair of homers and doubles. Other than that, he got a good pitching week from Brian Bayo, who was kind of a surprise, as well as Frankie Montas as well. Had been really bad since joining the Yankees, but much needed good 11 innings for Jake.
Mm-hmm. And he got lucky from Snell too. It's kind of a wild card what you're gonna get from him at this time, but we'll see.
That's true. Yeah, Blake Snell is really up and down. Yeah, 2 good starts in a row though for him, including the one tonight, Monday night, which won't count towards Jake. Jake also got 3 homers from Bo Bichette today that won't count for him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so maybe he's wishing he was playing this week. Although I guess no one's wishing they're playing this week if you have a bye. But yeah, let's talk about the last playoff team. That was Conor. Conor was losing to the Bellies on either Friday or Thursday or one of those days late in the week. But he ended up with a 10-2 victory. Had Conor ended up losing and had Ruthvik held on to the win, Ruthvik would have gotten that 6th playoff spot. But instead, it is Conor in the playoffs for back-to-back week or back-to-back seasons. Yeah, I think he pitched decently this week. The hitting was kind of mediocre as well. But again, he's facing the Bellies. The Bellies have lost 13 in a row. They're not really setting their lineups. They did use an ad this week, so they're setting their lineups a little bit. But just a rough week from them this week. 6 homers, sub 300 on base percentage. Not a good week, but for them, and Conor did enough to win and get back into the playoffs.
Yeah, Belly's led the league in holes this week, so good for them on that. But otherwise, typical Bellies this year, and yeah, I'm glad, or it's good for Conor that he can follow up his miraculous finals appearance with another playoff appearance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he gets to face Sahil again, which is exciting. He got good weeks from a lot of guys on his team, with an honorable mention to Justin Turner, an acquisition this year. I'm going to give matchup MVP to Trevor Story, who seems to maybe he's like the Blake Snell of hitters, because he's either terrible for a lot of weeks or he puts together a monster week like this one. With 4 doubles, 4 RBIs, a 500 on base, and a couple steals, which was good. Conor stole 7 bases this week. Yeah, he is not having a good year though. Conor needs him to hit well in the playoffs for him if he wants his offense to keep pace with Sahil's.
Yeah, it's not looking good for him this year, but maybe he's like another Francisco Lindor type. You change from one league to another. You have a bad first year and have a really good second year. So maybe that's what'll happen.
That's true. Yeah, Lindor's been huge for me this year. Hopefully, for Conor's sake, Story is next year. Because yeah, it'd be nice to get some guys on the younger side hitting well. Because God, this team, how did this team get so old? Like Conor was rebuilding 2 years ago. Now he's got the oldest team in the league. How did that happen?
Yeah, I guess he traded for JV, traded for Simeon, traded for Perez. Oh my God. Yeah, it seems like all the guys he traded for are old.
Yeah, and he picked up Bumgarner, and he traded for Justin Turner. God, yeah, he's gotta hope for a breakout from him. Yeah, God. Gotta hope for a breakout from Eloy Jimenez next year or something, or Luis Robert. Yeah, no, Conor's team, yeah, I don't want to say his window is closing, but he's definitely got to make some moves to get younger in the offseason if he wants to make it 3 playoff appearances in a row next year.
Yeah, he probably has to learn how to make better prospect ads like Sahil has learned over the past couple of years to keep himself afloat.
That's true. Yeah, Sahil's done a great job with that. Conor's had a few good ads. There's a name. Who's the Rockies guy? I think he's got a Y in his name. Either way, he traded him away this year. But he was a good ad when he owned him at least. But yeah, absolutely. Connor's got to, that's a very good point. Got to start making prospect ads.
Ezekiel Tovar.
There it is.
Yeah. I also picked up Kyle Manzardo, which is looking good so far.
That's true. Yeah, Kyle Manzardo's been good. But overall, but yeah, I don't want to complain too much about his team because it's in the playoffs 2 years in a row. He's doing a lot of things really well. And yeah, he's got a tough challenge with Sahil this week. Moving on now, there's one more playoff team we haven't mentioned. This matchup didn't affect the standings or anything like that, but a win for Yuki keeps him in that 5th seed. And gets him to avoid Sahil. He had a easy win over EBO, 10-1-1. EBO is just not playing very well down the stretch. They only hit 3 home runs this week. Somehow for a team that this time last year was all in on saves and holds, they got 0 saves and 1 hold with an ERA north of 5. It's just not going well for them. But Yuki played really well this week, though. He didn't use all his starts, but he managed to just sneak by in Ks and quality starts, and he had a great rate stats. Overall, he ended up finishing 7th in Roto, I believe. I'm pretty sure he was behind Andrew, which is kind of surprising. Wow. Considering he's the 5 seed and considering Yuki was kind of surprisingly high in Roto early in the year. But yeah, on the whole, he played well enough, and I'm definitely terrified of his pitchers this week.
Bringing up his schedule. Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't realize this. Yuki has won 9 of his last 10 games.
Yeah. God, yeah. 9 of 10.
He started the year losing 5 of his first 8 games, and then like a bullet just gets win after win. So yeah, this is terrifying for you, I imagine.
Yeah, I am scared. On one hand, I think, yeah, this you can't predict anything based on last week. Every week is a new week, and momentum is it's fantasy baseball. There's no real thing as momentum. Again, I don't want to get burned by saying that, but these players don't realize that they're on a winning team. Certainly Seiya Suzuki doesn't, and certainly Scott Barlow doesn't. Their teams suck in real life. But yeah, no, I guess in the sense that maybe Yuki's got something figured out for winning 9 out of 10. That's something I'm worried about, but I don't know. I think, yeah, I'm just hoping that his luck turns around a little bit. I will say though, he's still getting great weeks from his studs. A good pitching week from Miles Michaelis helped him out a lot in the rate stats. Again, he didn't use a ton of starters, but they all pitched pretty solidly, including Johnny Cueto. Matchup MVP, though, has got to go to a guy who had one of the definitely most superlative weeks I've ever seen, and that's Jake McCarthy, who drove in 11 runs, which is kind of crazy. I don't know if I've seen 11 RBIs since maybe Trevor Story's crazy week in June. He did only have a 320 on base, and wasn't exactly contributing a ton in the categories besides RBI. But that 11 RBI is just so insane. I got to give it to him without anyone else really pushing for matchup MVP. Austin Riley, I'll give him a shout out as well with his 4 home runs. But Jake McCarthy had 3 home runs, and I'm giving him matchup MVP.
Yeah. And not to mention, just real quick, Yuki's got on this hot streak all without his best player in Bryce Harper.
That's true. Yeah, that is scary as well. Bryce Harper is back. He had a 462 on base this past week. Very good point. do not want Bryce Harper to go off this week because you're right. Yuki's been doing this all shorthanded. But yeah, one final matchup to talk about this week, and that is the one matchup between two non-playoff teams. That is the Subway Series. This is rivalry week. We haven't even mentioned that yet. This was rivalry week. And we're two rivals talking rivalry week, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, Alex versus Andrew. A nice win for Andrew to close out the season. He finishes at 9-10-1, solidly in that 8th spot. And his pitchers were incredible, and really all around he was very good. With his 21 doubles, 16 homers, 53 RBI. He struck out 90 in 8 quality starts, 2.06 ERA, 0.96 WHIP. Andrew would have beaten most teams this week, if not all of them. I'm not sure how he would have done against the two of us. But very impressive way to close the season for him. And he's got to be looking forward to next season with his team still being very young and on the upswing.
Oh, yeah. Just last year before the season, we were thinking he was like the worst team in the league, right? And now he's about 500 and things are looking up. So, yeah, I'd be pretty happy if I was him.
Yeah, no, not only did we think he was the worst team in the league, we thought it was a really long and arduous rebuild for him. And that did not end up being the case. It took 2 years for him to be kind of a fringy playoff team. And I think next year he could, if say Yuki and Conor take a step back, Andrew could slot right in there into that, into one of those playoff spots. But yeah, looking towards matchup MVP though, he had a lot of guys have good weeks. I mean, of course he did. His whole team had a good week. I'll give a shout out to Nate Lowe. But oh my God, wait a second. I just gave Jake McCarthy MVP for having 11 RBI. Meanwhile, Jock Peterson has 13 this week, with 3 homers and with more runs than Jake McCarthy did, and a on-base percentage 200 points higher. So on one hand, I got to give it to him. Tommy Edman also had a great week. But I guess on the other hand, look at Zach Gallen's numbers. 2 quality starts, 14 Ks in 14 innings, no runs allowed, 0.43 ERA. I don't know which one of them to give it to. I'm going to give it to Gallen because I haven't given it to a pitcher yet this week.
Yeah, Gallen's been traded, like 5 or 6 times in this league, and he's looking like, based on recent performance, he's looking like he's an ace now.
Yeah, he is. He's given up. Did he give up a single run in August? I know he had something crazy like that. 0 runs or 1 run or. Okay, so it looks like he gave up 3 runs on August 2nd and then 6 straight scoreless appearances, 6 straight scoreless starts. How?
Wow.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, Gal was in that massive deal with EBO with Torkelson and Witt. And I don't remember how he was valued at the time. I feel like he might have been top 50 for sure, but I don't think he was like anything close to an ace at that point. But that's looking like a really underrated part of the deal looking back at it.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I know he was with Ruthvik for a while, and he was kind of pitching like an ace in Miami for a bit, and that didn't end up lasting completely. So yeah, I had a rough year last year, but great to see him pitching this well, and it'll be great for Andrew if he continues to pitch this way. I mean, not that he's going to continue not allowing a run ever, but but if he continues pitching like an ace, that'll be huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, that is all of the matchups from this past week. Let's move on now to officially talking about the playoffs. We got 2 matchups going on: the 4v5 matchup between me and Yuki, and then of course the 3v6 matchup between Sahil and Conor. Let's break down. I know we've kind of been breaking them down while we go with all the key storylines, particularly mine versus Yuki's. So let's talk briefly about that. What are you looking forward to in that matchup, and what do you think the keys are?
Yeah, I think the key is if you can overcome your pitching injuries. You do have a lot of really good starters hurt, but then again, a lot of your starters are pretty good. You're projected for 7 starts this week, and Yuki's only projected for 6 as of now. So I feel like that could go either way. His starters are decent as well. And in terms of hitting, I feel like Yuki has kind of become me in terms of making good hitter pickups. He's picked up Jose Siri recently. Jake McCarthy, I think, was a recent pickup. Lane Thomas has been doing very well for him recently. So yeah, I mean, I think your offense is definitely better, but he could go either way. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've also been doing the you thing with hitter pickups. I mean, I just
Oh yeah, Friedel, right?
yeah, TJ Friedel. I got Kike Hernandez was just kind of a flyer on Thursday to try and or Wednesday to try and get a bat in my lineup, and he got 2 hits that day, and he's stuck ever since. And then Yandy Diaz, I was talking to Sahil about this off air, but I picked him up. When did I pick him up? Back in July, and he's just on an absolute tear this year. He's got a 396 on base. He could be a guy on my team for the next several years. But I've kind of been with my injuries playing the waiver wire in terms of hitters also. But yeah, it could definitely come down to who does that better this week between me and Yuki.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like you'll definitely win OBP, and I feel like the rest of the categories are kind of up in the air. I think you have the edge, but both of you have pretty good offenses. Randy has been amazing lately. Who needs Bryce Harper when you have Randy Rosarina?
God, that's true. Yeah, having Randy and Bryce in that lineup, if they're both playing to their potential. I will admit that I was not as wrong as Sahil was about Randy, because Sahil was firmly anti-Randy. But I was kind of iffy on Randy, and he's been incredible. But yeah, so that's my matchup with Yuki. We'll do our predictions in a bit. But let's talk Sahil v. Conor. Conor's got 10 starts, Sahil's got 12, so they both got more than me and Yuki. What do you think the keys to this one are?
Both of them have a lot of really good hitters. I mean, I think Sahil's lineup is better, but Conor has some studs and Paul Goldschmidt, Marcus Semien, even Alex Verdugo has been playing kind of like a stud recently. He's got a lot of really good hitters, so it just depends on if the gap fillers can live up to the task and go against Sahil's daunted offense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It definitely comes down to that. I guess we got to see which version of Conor we're going to see this week. Is it going to be the one with a 150 ERA or with a 550 ERA? We always see one or the other. But Sahil's also prone to pitching blowups like that too. We've seen that quite a few times this year. And it just kind of comes down to, can Conor catch lightning in a bottle like he did last year? Because Sahil clearly does have the better team. Interestingly enough, the Dodgers, they are off on Thursday. They only play 6 games this week, and we know how much that matters for Sahil's fortunes. They also play 3 games at Notorious Pitchers Park, Petco Park. So maybe there's something there. They only playing 6 out of 7 days, and 3 of those being at a big pitcher's park. Who knows? They're lined up to face Yu Darvish, who shut them down last time. And I know I've been benching starters against the Dodgers, and so I know I'll probably be benching Minaya against the Dodgers. So Sahil is hoping that they'll blow him up. I don't know. I'm not loving the week that his several Dodgers hitters have. So that could be a key, considering how much his lineup is built around them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like the relievers could be pretty even. with Sahil having the slight edge in saves, Conor maybe having a slight edge in the holds. And yeah, it just depends on, like you said, if any of Sahil's starters blow up like they do from time to time.
Yeah, no, exactly. They definitely do that. But yeah, no, those are the two matchups for the week. Definitely different with there only being two as opposed to the usual six, but it is that time of year. And let's get into the pick'em. The pick'em regular season is over, and I am delighted to announce that I went 6-0 last week.
Oh,
I was the first person ever in the history of the podcast to correctly pick a tie when I picked Sahil and Ruthvik to tie. And with my 6-0 week and Sahil's more mediocre 3-2-1 week, we finished the regular season tied in the pick'em.
oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we tied. He went 70, 30, and 20. I went 67, 27, and 26. And if you do that thing with the ties that he does, that's 80 and 40 for both of us.
This has been another funny storyline to watch the whole year with you getting off to the big lead and then Sahil coming back and then tying on the last day.
That's true. Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, yeah, maybe a little bit like his matchup with Ruthvik last week. Yeah, on the other hand, you week 5 you went 2-1-3. So average wise, you would be your percentage. I think you would be behind us. You went 2-1-3 because the week you came on and picked you, that was the week where there were 3 ties. Sahil and Anthony tied, EBO and Andrew tied, and me and Conor tied.
Oh damn.
But yeah, no, big week. Maybe you can take over number 1 if you correctly pick these 2 weeks. And as just like last year in the playoffs, we are picking scores. I guess not that I don't know how we're going to score it, but we are giving score projections. So let's do Sahil's picks first. He thinks that I am going to beat Yuki 7-4-1. And he thinks that he is going to lose to Conor 7-5. Sahil not having faith in his team. He's picked himself. I was going to say he likes to pick against himself, but really this is the first time picking against himself since my second matchup with him in week 14. He's coming off of a loss to Jake and a tie to Ruthvik in the last 2 weeks. Now he's got to face Conor. And he doesn't think he'll be able to get by him. But yeah, you are the guest. Why don't you make your predictions first?
All right. I think I'm gonna go chalk and picking you and Sahil. Well, it just depends on what the scores will be. I think Sahil encounters is gonna be a closer score than you and Yuki. I'm gonna say you win 8-2-2. I'm gonna say Sahil wins. I don't know. I hate to do the same thing as him, but I like that 7-4-1. Oh wait, no, that was the other one he picked, didn't he?
Yeah, he picked me 7-4-1.
All right, I'm gonna pick him 7-4-1.
All right. So you have me 8-2-2 and Sahil 7-4-1. I don't remember if I said this on air or off air, but I think it would be very on brand. I don't even know if it's on brand, if it's or if it's off brand in a way that I could very much see happening. But I think I'm going to tie Yuki 6-6 and advance on the tiebreaker. And I think Sahil is going to. I think he's going to win, and I think he'll win 8-3-1. I don't think he's going to have a ton of issues with Conor this time. But yeah, all 3 of us have me advancing over Yuki. I hope that's not a bad omen. I know, I mean, when Sahil picks me, when Sahil picks anything for himself or me, I know he really is just kind of using whatever power he has to make the opposite thing happen. Normally that works. That's why he's picking Conor 7-5. But the other two of us do have Sahil winning. And yeah, so if Sahil is right, then the semis matchups will be me versus you, and yet another rematch, and Jake versus Conor. Jake versus Conor with a spot in the finals would be a lot of fun. And if the two of us are correct, then it'll be me versus you again, just like last year, and Sahil versus Jake in the second semi. Jake has beaten Sahil twice in a row. I'm sure if that happens, Sahil will go on a long rant about that next week. But yeah, the playoffs are back. It's great to be here. Great to talk with you about them and about our rivalry week. And yeah, I'd wish you luck, but you are not even playing this week. So congrats on the bye and good luck the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah, thank you. Getting ready for some stressful weeks, hopefully 2 of them, because I know when I played you last year, it was one of the most stressful weeks I've had in a while. And I mean, hopefully it's not stressful. Hopefully I blow my opponent out, but it probably will be very stressful.
Yeah, no, it's always very stressful. I know. I don't think I've ever had a non-stressful playoff matchup. I don't think there's ever been a non-stressful playoff matchup. Except for maybe your finals win over Sahil where he scored 16 runs. But even then, with it being the finals, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it was very stressed last finals, to be honest, either. But oh well.
Well, that's true. But hey, I guess that's okay. Conor was just happy to be there, and maybe this year's his real run to the championship. But with that all being said, yeah, I guess I've been going in circles trying to wrap this up. But yeah, we will see you next week with the results from round 1 of the playoffs. Until next time, good luck, everyone.
This podcast is good.